Alright guys, it is the weekend again, and this week is special because it is the week of Flight Fest. And so that being said, we got our buddy James here. We got a special guest here today, all the way from England. He's filling in for Austin, because as you probably would have guessed, Austin is down in Malvern, literally with his bare hands setting up Flight Fest today, and Flight Fest isn't until next week, but you're probably watching this video now, so Flight Fest might, I don't know. Check the link below if you guys aren't familiar with Flight Fest. If you are and you come to Flight Fest, thank you guys for making Flight Fest what it is. We really appreciate it. But today is also a special day because we have this guy. This is a very exciting car for me, so check this out. We have the Traxxas TRX-4 Sport. Now this is a brand new one from Traxxas. For those of you guys who aren't familiar with the crawler segment of the hobby, Traxxas about a year ago entered the crawler game with their original TRX-4. Now this is the TRX-4 Sport. This is cheaper. That's the biggest difference that you're gonna notice. This comes in at $359, whereas the original TRX-4 is like $400 plus or $450. The big things that you are paying for with the more expensive TRX-4 is, number one, is it's going to have locking and unlocking differentials. There's actually a little servo in there that will lock your diffs up, or you can unlock it on the fly from your radio. Now, it also has another switch where you can actually change gears, and that's right, the bigger, more expensive TRX-4 has two speeds. It has like a crawler speed, and then it has a little bit faster speed. It is nice, I'd say, for general purpose, but for a lot of the pure crawler guys, some of the crawler purists out there who are doing like the crawler competitions, they actually might not even need that second speed, and in fact it's just going to make it a little bit heavier. For crawling competitions, you're not going to be popping it into high gear and doing high speed Baja runs down the crawler course. Crawling is a very meticulous, like patient practice, and so you don't really need that speed. So when the TRX-4 Sport came out without those extra features of locking and unlocking diffs and the two speeds, it's nice because one, it's cheaper, but two, a lot of the competition guys don't even use those features to begin with. Let's pop the top off here. A couple things going on here. So first thing you notice, it has this like double pan design, which is kind of cool because the body sits right down on these ledges right here, and you wouldn't think it, but it actually keeps the innards quite a bit cleaner compared to some of the other bodies that are just open on the bottom with nothing to protect them from gear. And you can see how dirty that one is. Not a huge deal. Obviously these are all waterproof so you can clean them and whatnot, but it does help keep things a little bit nice and tidy. One of the other big things that you'll pay for with the TRX-4 compared to the other ones, and this is on both the TRX-4 Sport and the original TRX-4, down here underneath you notice the axle here. These have what are called axle portals, but as you can see, it kind of raises the ground clearance up pretty substantially. Actually, I believe it's about an inch, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're dealing with a 1/10 scale car that's only, what, 10 inches tall maybe, 1 inch is quite a bit. If you scale that up, that's a lot of ground clearance. And compared to your traditional crawler, you can see where this one doesn't have nearly as much ground clearance as something like this. That could make or break you depending on what kind of obstacles you're trying to overcome. These things sit very, very high. They're able to get over a lot of different things. It's gonna come with all your standard high-end crawler stuff. So it's got metal gearbox, has full metal servo, it's got a brushed motor, which is standard and is probably the preferred motor for when you're crawling. So this is another cool feature right here. This is it has a really unique battery tray. It's very, very big, but it also has like two different wells in it, one of which is for smaller batteries if you were trying to keep your setup a little bit lighter, but it also has this big shelf that you can do all the way up. Look at this. I am running a 7600 2 cell. Other than that, pretty standard stuff. It has the XL5 ESC, which will do 2S or 3S. Now, we haven't run it on a 3S yet, but basically it will give it a little bit more power, but the main thing you'll notice is it's gonna be a little bit faster. It has not only aluminum shocks, but they're also, they call them scale looking shocks. So they kind of look what a real shock would look like on a truck this size if it were scaled up. So they do look very, very nice. And one of the things too for a future video that you probably noticed in the background here is we have the long arm lift kit, which comes with extra bits for the bottom, new shocks, and it will give it an additional 1 inch of ground clearance. So that's gonna be crazy. So stay tuned, make sure you subscribe because we're gonna be adding that on here in the future. Other than that, everything is waterproof from front to back. You can basically submerge this thing under water and it's not gonna mind it. I think that is about it. So what we're gonna do is we are going to pop this battery in here. We're gonna take it outside. We're gonna take it for a spin. Now, James, you haven't done any crawling yet, have you?
No, I've done pretty much no crawling whatsoever. I've got about 0 experience with RC cars.
RC cars, yeah. So for those of you guys that aren't familiar with James, or maybe some of you might recognize his name, James actually works with Flight Test pretty closely. He's kind of one of the many guys behind the scenes that make Flight Test what it is, and what he is involved in are a lot of our written content, a lot of the articles that you see on our website. I mean, we have a lot of exciting projects coming up with James, but he came all the way from England to Flight Fest, and I don't think he expected to get a little RC car treatment, but today we're gonna go for a little crawling adventure.
Exciting, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get the batteries in there, we're gonna head outside, we're gonna do a little crawling. Let's go. All right, so James, what's your first impression of crawling?
Well, it's very different to the other type of RC cars that I've used before, but yeah, it's super fun. It's very slow, which you think would be boring, but it's actually very satisfying.
Yeah, kind of oddly gratifying, isn't it? A lot of fun.
Somehow it's really addictive.
Yeah.
Going over one rock, you'd think you'd get bored, but just keep going.
Hey Violet, what do you think about crawling?
I don't know.
What do you think? Is it good?
Yeah.
What kind of airplane do you have? What's the airplane's name?
Fleur.
What did you say?
Fleur. I love it, Violet.
All right, so that was interesting. James, what do you think, man?
Yeah, Yeah, it's pretty.
It's kind of weird. So like,
it is a kind of weird.
I've mentioned this in other videos before, but like I've always kind of had my eye on crawlers since they started to get more popular. But I never knew if it would be like, man, is that really worth like $200, $300, $400? In this case, $400. And it's not until you actually get one and you actually get to drive it over some terrain that it like kind of makes a little bit more sense of why people like to do this a little bit more. But anyways, guys, we're gonna keep it short this week. We wanted to, we just got this TRX-4 and it's brand new, so we wanted to share our first experience with you. Obviously, we got Flight Fest going on this week, so we got lots of things going on. We weren't actually gonna do a video, but I figured we got the truck. We might as well do a little first impression video. So you can expect to see more of this truck in the future. We're gonna be doing the lift kit on it, as well as if you guys have any ideas for different challenges, leave us a comment below. And as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so, and we will see you guys next time.
See you later.